town of Centralia, Pennsylvania. It's located almost right in the middle of the state of Pennsylvania, hence the name Centralia. It's an old mining town. Somewhere, I don't know, it's about the time of the Civil War, 1860s-ish is established. By 1950, this town had a population of almost 2,000 people. It's an old mining town, and they're mining coal, anthracite coal to be precise, because this coal is all underneath the town and all the surrounding towns. It just seamed throughout the underground earth. Well, some of these mines, as mines are abandoned from time to time. One of them was abandoned somewhat near the edge of town, and they were coming upon Memorial Day, and they were going to have a parade. Now, people have been dumping trash illegally all over the town. There's about 4 main town dumps, so they decided to dedicate this one spot as the town dump. So people dumping their trash in this open, what used to be a pit mine. And it's getting trashy. So they're going to spruce up, for the Memorial Day parade. And so the town of Centralia gets 4 volunteer firefighters to have a controlled burn. And they burn the trash. Trouble with that is, next day there's smoke coming out. Some flames reported. The fire's not out. So the local fire department goes down there and douses the whole thing with water again. Problem solved. And then about a week later, there's more smoke. The fire still isn't out. What happened was that the fire breached they were supposed to be encasing these old strip mines with layers of preventative, fire maintenance, fire retardant. And apparently they fell behind on that. It wasn't being done. So the trash fire that the town set has now caught the mine on fire. It's caught the coal on fire underground. And this coal is out of control now. And several people jumped in right away and said, we can put the fire out. Various miners with the equipment to bore down, dig this stuff out, and get it out of there. One guy offered to do it for a few $1,000s. One guy said he would do it for free on the condition that he got to keep any coal that he dug up in pursuit of these fires. Well, the town turned all that down. About a month and a half, 2 months have gone by now. They're just kind of, getting around to it. Meanwhile, the entire ground underneath the town is burning. Well, the big brains of the operation, the local municipality, they hire a firm. This is coming up on Labor Day. Now we're into September of 1962. But the guys are only allowed to work one shift, 8-hour days, and no weekends. And at one point they were shut down for several days because of the Memorial Day weekend. Can't be digging over that. All the while, the fire is spreading. Well, they come up with an idea that they're going to blast it with water. They're going to dump wet sand down there. They're going to force feed a slew of whatever, rock and gravel. It's fine. It's going to be fine. We're going to get, it's fine. But it wasn't fine. And they had multiple efforts, multiple times throughout the later 60s. And at one point they came out and said, hey, problem solved. There is no fire, But the residents kept complaining of having headaches and nosebleeds. And constantly, multiple people said they just wanted to go back to bed because they're suffering from carbon monoxide poisoning because things are still on fire. Well, they came up with another plan, the big brains did, and said, we're going to bore down and put some shafts in there. And what that's going to do is vent. It's going to keep it away from the town, see? And we're going to vent all the noxious fumes and the smoke and stuff, kind of drive that off to the edge of town. And what are we venting? The fire has been put out, right? Well, no, it hadn't. And so these vents initially worked, sort of. It did keep the fumes away from the town. Problem was, when the coal burned up underground, because the fire had moved on and it exhausted all its fuel, and so, it's continuously burning. Now those vents, these pipes that they bored into the ground are air ducts that provide air intake for the ever-burning fire underground. Fast forward almost 40 years to 1981, 12-year-old boy is playing in his grandmother's backyard, and the ground just opens up underneath him. On his way down the fiery pit, he grabs hold of a tree root and hangs on for dear life, and this thing's like a blast furnace coming out of the ground now. Estimates of 300-degree heat, and he's hanging on to this root, and if his older cousin doesn't help pull him out, he goes down this pit, which was about 4 feet wide and roughly 150 feet deep. Now we got a problem on our hands, Houston. So the state government comes in again, and in conjunction with the federal government, they establish a fund, $42 million. We're going to buy out the town because it's not safe. Turns out there was a fire, and it's still burning. The trouble with that is residents complained that we're being taxed on a $42,000 home. This is early 1980s, mind you. So a $42,000 home, and they've offered us $11,900. You can't replace a home for that. The ones that the town basically split into two parts. Those that wanted to relocate out and the government to pay for it because they started the fire. And then the other part saying, just get the dang fire put out. We're not moving anywhere. This is a massive chasm in the town now. Mind you, it was the government that caused this, even though it was a municipal government. And it was the government that was slow to respond. And it was the government that came out and said, hey, the fire's out. There is no fire. I don't know what you're talking about. Everything's fine. It's all going to be fine. Turns out it's not fine. And turns out you can't replace a home, even in 1982, for $11,000. Or whatever pittance they were offering them for ruining. A lot of these homes had been passed down generation to generation to generation for a century. And because of some ding-dong's lack of diligence, you're burning trash near an open pit mine. I mean, what could go wrong? It's foolproof. Around about 2002, they pulled the zip code from Centralia. It's not even a recognized town anymore. And in the 90s, a few of the residents that remained filed counter lawsuits trying to keep their homes and keep their land. And finally, there was an agreement made that the remaining people in Centralia could keep their homes, but upon their death, the homes would revert to the state. It's all being condemned. It's done. Now, the stretch of highway that ran through there was once known as Graffiti Highway. It became like I don't want to say a thrill seeker, but almost a landmark for the wrong reasons. People visit and they'd spray paint and graffiti on the road and this and that and the other. Parts of the town are just collapsing. I mean, this is a big, big deal. And the fire to this day still isn't out. Some estimates say that the fire will burn for another 150 years. Some of them say 250 years. They don't know. What's going to happen probably is the fire is going to burn until it runs out of fuel, meaning all that coal that's underground in Pennsylvania. This could be a problem. Now, there's another town, ironically called Burnsville, which was actually named after these Burns people that established the town. Just so happens. But that town, too, had to be evacuated. I think it was $44 million fund to buy those people out and evacuate them because the fire had spread underground. Now it's under Burnsville, down to the south. Just move them out. There isn't even a fire, but I mean, there is. It'll be fine. It's fine. I guess the moral of the story here is that these people that claim that they're in charge, we are the authority of the town. And this can happen at any level. City, state, town, municipal, state, federal, it doesn't matter. You got a bunch of inept people running around, and keep in mind, and it's important to remember, these are just people. And not only are they just people, they're usually really incompetent people. Elsewise, they'd be doing something productive with their lives instead of milking off the government. Know what I'm saying? Slow to react. When they finally get there, we got some guys that we happen to know or be related to. They'll take care of it. They'll get the contract to put these fires out. And they're inept too, and they can't get it done. and they use the wrong timelines, and there's no panic at all. And then finally, just blatant denial. There isn't any fire. I told you it was going to be fine, until it isn't. And we see it happen. You saw it in what was it called? Palestine, Ohio? Same thing. They'll give them a little pittance and run them out of there. And you know, they said it already. We've tested the water and the air, and it's fine. It's perfectly good. Everything's great. Except it isn't. A lot of those people in Centralia ended up dying of cancer, probably from breathing all that crap in that didn't exist because there wasn't a fire. Ineptitude at every level, but especially in the government. And then just lies. There's no fire. It's fine. Turns out there's fires burning underground all over the world. I found out researching this little video. One of them, I think Australia or something, some mountain, I don't know, it's been on fire for like 5,000 years. I don't know. It's craziness is what it is. It's interesting though. Hey, thank you for watching. If you got comments, you put them down in the thing. Always love to read them. I will catch you next time.